Hi everyone, Ian from DIY Home and Gardening, making a start on lifting some garlic. So if I turn the camera around and just show you what I've been doing and what I'm yet to do. Okay, so covers are off, well the first cover's off. That nice glossy green dark stuff, well that's all the onions. That other bed there, mixture of onions and garlic, predominantly onions though. These, you can pretty much tell which is the leek because it's got rust. So thankfully we're pretty late on into the season, or the growing season, and so actually we've only really got another couple of weeks before I'd be thinking of lifting it anyway. So we are 20th of June, so as I say, I'd be lifting kind of the end of the month anyway, but because I want to get some planting done in this bed relatively soon, I want to try and minimize the amount of fungal spores that are going to be dropping into the soil. So lifting early. Hopefully what you can see is got the labels there, so you know I've got lines all set out, the different ones. Lifted this one already, Carcassonne, which I only had literally a couple of cloves which are planted, so that actually is all there was anyway. I've got a mass of this variety, or mass of this, which is Marco, so that's looking nice and clean. This one here, you can see it's starting to produce the garlic scapes or scapes. It is, well, I called it garlic Marks and Spencer because that's where it came from. Bought a bulb, or whole bulb of it from Marks's, and it's meant to be a big French variety. It'll be all right. And then we've got Red Duke, some Villardo, and there's a couple other varieties here which the labels have gone walkabout. Hopefully the labels will appear as I start lifting, but these varieties here, they were ones that I had no idea on the variety, hadn't heard of them before. I actually bought them online, which it's not something that I genuinely do, but I was so desperate at the time just to get a few more garlic varieties, having left it a little bit late in the autumn, that I bought them. So yeah, I'm going to lift, and for the time being just using generally the hand fork, pair of gloves, to carefully get underneath or close to the bulb and then pull them and get them out, and trying to get them in separate trays for the different varieties. So yeah, I better crack on. Right, so that's everything pulled. I'll run through which varieties we got again, because I have found my original list. So I've got Red Duke, which you can see all pretty decent. There's a few that are smaller than others, but that's always the way. Villardo, again, most of those are pretty decent. We got that sort of started to split into multiple bulbs. I mean, some of these garlic, to be honest, are going to be given away, because I don't think there's any way in the next year that we'll be able to eat them all, but it does show what you can do. So this is Carcassonne, which say I only had a few of. I remember why, as I'd bought some, and I bought it as an online purchase, and when they arrived there was only about 4 or 5 bulbs that were actually, or cloves, that were actually any good. The rest had all rotted. So I ended up getting a refund on those. And I remember why I then bought this, which is what I've got labelled up as the Marks and Spencers, because that also is Carcassonne. But buying it in Marks and Spencers as a singular bulb, I think I paid about £4 for each of the bulbs as they were, and obviously that's yielded some big old beasties there. So it'd be interesting to see how they work, because it doesn't actually look as though they've divided up particularly well. So I might end up we might end up using them almost just as a wet garlic, if you like. Then these are, oh, they're my Marco, that's right. So they're Marco, and they actually came from garlic cloves that I'd saved from last year. So you can see that actually from I think I started with about 50 last year, pulled obviously all of them, ate most of them and just planted out some, and that's given me that lot there. Plus I still have which bit is it, this little block here, which is my spring planted remnants. I don't think they'll be particularly useful, to be honest, but they might be all right still. So anyway, that's been really good. And I looked this one up. So this was something like Albacean white, as in from the Isle of Wight. But I mean, look at the size of some of those. They are pretty massive. Well, most of them are pretty massive. So again, they look pretty decent. Looking at it, you can see potentially why they've struggled with rust. So normally I wouldn't be growing them in these beds, because I wouldn't have had an allotment. So I always grow in the past at home in raised beds, which is lighter, freer draining soil than this. Obviously this only had a few months really of preparation time for me to get it right, or to get it plantable I should say. And because of that, because I was rushing, what I did was I mixed in plenty of manure, and I think, to be honest, having too much manure has given it too much nitrogen at the expense of at the expense of putting down enough phosphorus and or potash, which is what I normally use, which would give me the decent root development or decent bulb development. And because it's high nitrogen, it's essentially meant they've put on loads of soft growth, which has made them more susceptible to the rust. So lesson learned, next year I'll add the manure in the summer, let it break down, and then when it comes to the autumn time, won't be an issue. I'll just use phosphorus or potash I should say, for better development. But anyway, that's that lot cleared. I'm going to leave the elephant garlic because that's not proper garlic anyway, and that'd be fine, it's a perennial. And then I'm going to lift some of these onions just to use. I will leave these and see if they bulk up a little bit, because I'm not desperate. I say that little lot is more Marco, and this is early purple white, so we'll see how we get on with those. Well, back to this lot. Having pulled it tonight, there is always that temptation that you want to start cleaning up straight away, and if it was wet then I would do, but because it's nice and dry at the moment, good temperatures, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to transfer those crates over into the shed, which is nicely aerated anyway on account of it's got a few holes, and for literally a couple of days I'm just going to let them dry out. And after they've dried a little bit, just literally go through them and try and shake off a bit more of the soil, and probably look to remove some of the leaf, and well, say some of the leaf, some of these more brown leaves and the roots, and then that will be it. And I'll leave them to dry for probably another couple of weeks before tackling anymore. But essentially I just want to make sure that they're dry before I start messing around too much with trying to peel the outer layers on this, because if you pull them off too much now, you can see how wet that is, and the last thing you want to do is get any sort of bacterial infection into this nice skin. So just let it dry out a little bit, and then you'll be able to go along, just clean them up and see what you've actually got. So that's what my plan is say literally just move them and then forget about them for a couple of days. So I'm back at the allotment. Actually been 4 days since I lifted the garlic, just because of work commitments, and so I'm going to start cleaning these up for storing over winter, or until we use them. So this variety is Allotment, and as you can see at the moment it's looking rather grimy. So start with removing the root. So either use your hands or carefully use a knife. Put a pair of gloves on, because otherwise doing this job you'll find that your hands smell of garlic for the next couple of days. So first thing, grab some gloves, get a sharp knife, and we're going to remove this root, and it won't be too difficult. So you literally just remove at the base but without damaging the bulb. First job. So we've cleared off the bottom. As it happened, it was probably easier just to hold one bulb in the hand and then using your other hand just twist the roots off, and then it's entirely up to you and how much skill or ability you have, or whether you can be bothered, quite frankly. Don't judge me, but that's kind of my attempt at garlic plaiting. I'm sure all of you have seen my face, so you'll know that I don't have long hair to try and plait, so I've never tried to. So you can either try and plait, I'm sure there's plenty of videos to watch on that, and that is garlic red duke. Personally I'll probably still take the tops off just so it gets shot of some of the mess, or my preferred method, which is cut the stem, take off this outer layer just to keep it nice and tidy, and then quite frankly just use some of this jute twine to tie the bulbs together so that I can then hang them like so, and that will allow them to carry on drying and store for future use and or winter. And really that is me done in terms of my garlic harvest. I will add a link to previous video I've done, which is for lifting and storing of garlic over autumn winter period, which kind of emphasizes or goes into a little bit more detail on how I look after mine. But yeah, so for the time being this was just intended really as a quick video, just to show you the lifting and harvesting of my garlic and a little bit of onion. So any questions, just send them over to me. I'll always do my best to answer them for you. If you like what I'm doing, then please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that reminder button so you don't miss out on the future videos I'm doing, and hopefully you guys should be lifting some of these. So enjoy. See you soon. Bye for now.